Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 108 based on novel. So let's start. Ancient Yangfeng country, Chu capital. Under the night sky, Luo Feng in black leisurely flew over the city. After reaching the second level of God King, I can already peek into the complete Tao of destruction, and the use of Morosa has been greatly reduced. Luo Feng smiled slightly. Mastering the branches of the Tao, you can peek into part of the Tao. After reaching the second level of God King, you can peek into the complete Tao and mobilize the power of the Tao to a certain extent. If you reach the ultimate realm, you will master the complete Tao. When my life path reaches the second level of God King, the help of the original universe can be ignored. Many precious opportunities in the past are becoming less and less important. For example, the former Wu Yui, as an eternal true god-level mechanical flow secret treasure, was helpful to Luo Feng who had just arrived at the origin continent. But as his strength increased, it became a treasure of great commemorative significance. The original universe is about to be useless, and Morosa can still be of some help if it reaches the ultimate realm. As the most brilliant will secret technique I have ever seen, the element art is still very helpful. The Star Tower becomes more and more important as time goes by. Luo Feng also found it interesting. When he was weak in the original universe of his hometown, he thought that the value of the tomb boat, Wu Yui, and the blood shadow knife were all above the Star Tower. It can be seen that when you are weak, it is difficult to see through the treasures in front of you. Even Master Zwashanka, who personally refined the Star Tower, only thought that the Star Tower was a God King level secret treasure. He didn't see through the Star Tower. Luo Feng thought while flying leisurely, and soon arrived at the Emperor Chu Palace. He came to the Emperor Chu Palace to receive the subsequent inheritance of 8 Tribulations life form and 72 Swords of Destruction. He only needs to show the mystery of the second level of the God King of Destruction Road to prove that he has reached this level. A moment later, 8 Tribulations life form and 72 Swords of Destruction were inherited by Luo Feng in the full stage of the God King. Of course, Luo Feng is only referring to these 2 inheritances now. Compared with the special inheritance, it is indeed much simpler, and the secret method is also more ordinary. Luo Feng thought. Special inheritance, the strongest moves in theory at the same stage, incredibly difficult. For example, the 24 phases of life comprehend the essence of the 24 phases, and research on materials that adapt to the 24 phases. Luo Feng only comprehended one aspect, and has not yet comprehended it. For example, the Unity secret method of Mixed Cave Beast Body, that is a battle method to cooperate with the Mixed Cave Beast Body. Luo Feng only comprehended the battle method, and did not comprehend the Mixed Cave Beast Body, but used the battle method with a stronger world life form. So these 2 special inheritances, the strongest moves in theory, Luo Feng only comprehended a part. After Luo Feng finished learning the inheritance, he naturally came to see the master. These 2 inheritances saved him about 200 million guest credits, so of course he had to thank the master. Luo Feng. Dichu smiled when he saw Luo Feng. He was too satisfied with this disciple. After becoming a God King for more than 200 centuries, he has already reached the second level of God King. This talent amazed Emperor Chu. Master, I have received the follow-up content of 2 inheritances. Luo Feng said. Yes. Emperor Chu nodded with satisfaction. When you just became a God King, you were already invincible in the first level of God King. I knew that your talent was terrifying enough, but to reach the second level of God King in such a short time. There are only a handful of people in the history of the origin continent who are faster than you. Luo Feng knew that there were indeed people who reached the second level of God King faster than him. This was also because he used low realm to comprehend high-level secrets to temper his own understanding. Your cultivation path is very smooth. Dichu said, some people with high talents may be dazzling in the early stage, but suddenly get stuck at a bottleneck and become mediocre. But you have smoothly broken through to the second level of the God King. For you, the next goal is the ultimate realm. Dichu said expectantly, the ultimate realm is many times more difficult than the second level of the God King. You still have to work hard and not be careless. Disciple understands. Luo Feng certainly understands. You are getting stronger and stronger. Dichu looked at Luo Feng. Some of the conflicts between the master and me will probably involve you. Implicate me? Luo Feng was stunned. You are my disciple. Dichu said, before, you were weak and the top group of beings in the origin continent would not care about you at all. But when you became the second level of the God King, you entered their field of vision. Who are they? Luo Feng asked. Emperor Chu looked at Luo Feng. Who do you think my enemy might be in the origin continent? After Luo Feng's spiritual will transformed, he completely restrained his will and hid himself, but he was still sensitive. The invisible pressure from the master sitting there was extremely terrifying. He was much stronger than the Emperor of Guishu, and even stronger than the Lord of the Mother River. Luo Feng had seen the Lord of the Mother River and the Queen of Fengju with his own eyes. These two relied on their realm and secret treasures to cross the level and fight against the Emperor. But in terms of the power of life, they were far inferior to the Emperors. With your strength, the people who can be opponents on the origin continent are mainly other emperors and monarchs. There are only a handful of idol practitioners who can be opponents. Luo Feng said. My biggest enemies are mainly the other emperors of the Yangfeng ancient country. Emperor Chu's eyes were a little colder. Luo Feng was stunned. The ancient country of Yangfeng and the ancient country of Leitang are naturally opposed. When it comes to external affairs, the 13 emperors of the ancient country of Yangfeng will naturally join forces to fight the enemy. As natural enemies, their grievances are very clear. Emperor Chu looked at Luo Feng, but it's different inside the ancient country of Yangfeng. Whether it's exploring many treasures lands, various opportunities, or resource allocation, there are many conflicts and contradictions. In the depths of the treasure land, in order to seize the treasure, they killed the emperors of the same clan. They killed the disciples of other emperors, exterminated their entire families, and seized their treasures. Emperor Chu looked at Luo Feng. On the surface, they are the 13 emperors of the ancient country of Yangfeng, but in fact, their hatred is greater than that of the idol practitioners in the outside world. Luo Feng was secretly shocked. It has long been rumored in the outside world that the relationship between the emperors is extremely bad, and it is true. In the future, you must distinguish who is the enemy and who is the friend. Dichu looked at Luo Feng. Among the 13 emperors of the ancient country of Yangfeng, Di Qing is the most transcendent and has the strongest appeal. Then it's Di Yang's turn. This is someone you must be careful of. Dichu looked at Luo Feng. Di Yang is the first emperor of the ancient country of Yangfeng. He once led the ancient country and had the power to allocate a lot of resources. Because at that time, the ancient country had only him as an emperor. He was also very friendly to the royal family and helped many younger generations. So now he is also very powerful. He and Di Wu are like brothers and sisters, and they are friends for life and death. He and D11 are married. He, D11, Di Wu, the three of them have always been friends. Advance and retreat. Because they are old enough and their methods are cruel enough, the three of them have accumulated the most treasures. Dichu looked at Luo Feng. The three of them have a full set of secret treasures that surpass the God King level. The three of them working together are even more terrifying. Among the 13 emperors of Yangfeng, Di Qing ranks first, and Di Yang, D11, and Di Wu are second together. Emperor Ming, his mind and will surpass the God King level. This allows his Han Yuan bloodline body to tap into more terrifying strength, and his mind and will secret technique is also terrifying. He should be considered the third force among the 13 emperors of Yangfeng. All other emperors, including the emperor's husband, have their own interests, and no one will always stick together. Dichu looked at Luo Feng. The bloodline cultivation route, except for Emperor Ming, is generally more violent and more reckless. The Han Yuan body refining route is relatively rational, but once calculated, it will only be more difficult. Luo Feng understood. It is said that Emperor Fu is talented enough and may be the next Emperor Qing. But in terms of strength, Emperor Ming is the strongest among the 12 emperors besides Emperor Qing. My biggest enemy is Emperor Wu, a life and death enemy. Emperor Chu looked at Luo Feng, which also caused Emperor Yang and Emperor 11 to target me. Disciple understands. Luo Feng understood. I was ambushed by her and fell into the deepest dirty blood river in the first treasure land of the origin continent, the Jianzhu realm. Generally, if a second-level God King is contaminated with the dirty blood of the dirty blood river, he will be infected and die directly. The pollution even affects the clone and will die completely. Emperor Chu looked at Luo Feng. I sank to the bottom of the dirty blood river, and my ultimate life form was corroded by more than 90%. I was about to die. Fortunately, I got the secret treasure at the bottom of the river and rushed out of the dirty blood river to survive. As long as there is a chance, I will definitely kill her. Emperor Chu said calmly. She deserves to die. Luo Feng nodded. Are there any emperors who have a good relationship with Master? Luo Feng asked. Di Chu was slightly startled, and then said. No. Although they are not friends, at least the other emperors and I have no life and death feud. Di Chu said, as for the grievances between other emperors, I will send you a detailed information. Luo Feng got the information and took a look. This study, Luo Feng found that Di Chu was not bad. Like Di Kong, he had a bad relationship with all the emperors. Di Ming. He attacked all the emperors except Di Qing, suppressed other emperors, and forcibly seized treasures. Because of his strong strength, none of the other emperors dared to have a life and death feud with him. But at the same time, Di Ming has no real friends. My master Di Chu is not bad among the 13 emperors. Luo Feng thought. I didn't expect that Di Ming, who was so friendly to me, would be so domineering and tyrannical. Tell me immediately if other emperors are involved. Di Chu said, don't make decisions easily, you will easily fall into it if you are not careful. Don't worry, Master. Luo Feng replied. Everything was just as Master Di Chu expected. After only half a century, Luo Feng's guest token received a mission. In Huyang City, Luo Feng looked at this mission in surprise. He had received many missions in the long years, but the content of this mission was a little special. Mission content. In the Imperial Forbidden Land, there are 192 worlds that cultivate 192 Hunyuan blood beast eggs respectively. It requires the strength of the second level of the God King, and 192 clones need to be arranged to take care of the beast eggs carefully. It only takes 3,000 centuries to take care of them carefully. There are very few guests who can complete this task. After discussion among many emperors, Luo He guest was designated to accept this task. Luo Feng was very surprised. Designate me. Unless it is a punishment like guarding Xiangjie City, normal guest tasks are accepted by all volunteers, and guests have the right to refuse. The credit for this task is 50 million, which is a bit small. This task has a high threshold and is hard work. You have toiled for 3,000 centuries to get such a small amount of credit. You can earn money just by picking any treasures in the dream realm. This task was discussed by multiple emperors and appointed me. Which emperors were they? Luo Feng frowned slightly. He was not willing to have much conflict with the emperors until he had mastered the life form of the 24-phase world. Master, I received a mission assignment. Luo Feng immediately sent a message and sent the complete content of the mission to Master. Reject it. Di Chu immediately ordered, creating Hunyuan bloodline beast eggs is very troublesome. You need to be distracted and take care of them carefully at the same time, and you have to be in a state of isolation all the time. During surveillance, you cannot slack off at all. 3,000 years of time will greatly affect your practice. This is hard work. Those in the second level of the God King who have stagnated in their cultivation and are good at clones will accept this task in order to please a certain emperor. There is no need for you to accept it. Di Chupan said. Yes, Master. Luo Feng didn't intend to answer. He has already obtained the Hunyuan bloodline material in the form of the 24 phases. If he wants a stronger Hunyuan bloodline material, he can only use the ultimate level strength Hunyuan bloodline biological material. The royal families of the two ancient kingdoms are forbidden to spread it. According to Luo Feng's understanding, the incarnation of the ancestor will keep an eye on him, and even if he acts as a guard, he cannot seek personal gain. Based on what I know about them, once you refuse, they will have a backup plan. Dichu ordered, don't care how they threaten or persuade, just refuse. Leave everything else to me. Disciple understands. Luo Feng said secretly. If he refused, would he still have a backup plan? Huyang City, the city lord's mansion. Luo Feng was on the high-rise pavilion, drinking fruit wine. The road of life has finally reached the second level of the God King. Luo Feng felt quite relaxed. After the lotus of life was rooted in the inner world, Luo Feng and the avenue of life were also extremely relaxed. It fits well, and studying the secret pattern of life in the Star Tower has also been of great help to him. The Star Tower has the largest proportion of life's secret patterns. Just tonight, the three branches of spirituality of life, body of life, and source of life are perfectly integrated, and the realm has been further improved, and the understanding of the 24 phases can also be smoother. After I showed my strength at the second level of the God King, the emperors began to pay attention to me. Luo Feng held the wine glass. Earlier, he had revealed that he was only invincible at the first level of the God King and could tangle with the Lord Qiankun with his multiple clones. Emperors ignored him. Now, everyone is paying attention to him, and some are even plotting against him. Luo Feng could feel the vague cause and effect beginning to entangle him. These causes and effects were very light, but so obscure and profound that it was difficult for Luo Feng to detect who was connected to these lines of cause and effect. Just because he couldn't detect who the connection was, Luo Feng was able to deduce the result. With my state, my mind and will cannot detect who these obscure causal lines are connected to, so it should be the emperors and monarchs. The life form of the ultimate realm is self-contained and perfect, and can be isolated from all prying eyes of cause and effect. Naturally, I can't spy on them. Suddenly, as the surrounding temperature rises, invisible white flames grow. Huh? Luo Feng's face changed slightly. The rules of the surrounding world's movement have changed, and become the rules of the movement of flames. In the white flames spreading around, a face of a flaming woman appeared, looking at Luo Feng indifferently. When Luo Feng saw the other party, he immediately stood up and saluted politely. Luo, he met the emperor. The woman in charge of such a terrifying flame was the only one on the continent who was one of the 13 emperors of the Yangfeng ancient kingdom, Diwu, and she also had a life-and-death feud with her master, Dichu. Hurry up and accept the task of cultivating chaotic source bloodline beast eggs. The woman ordered with a cold face. Emperor, I can't answer it. Luo Feng shook his head. The woman's eyes suddenly became much colder, and the invisible white flames instantly eroded Luo Feng's body. Luo Feng's world-life body felt extremely painful, hissing, his body was burned into reality almost instantly, and then his body began to recover again. This terrifying flame deliberately restrained its power, burning Luo Feng's body to the edge of annihilation, but it did not completely destroy the body. The world's life forms at the entry level are still too weak in front of the emperor. Luo Feng also felt a huge gap at this moment. You dare to reject me just because you have become a disciple of Di Chu? The woman looked at Luo Feng with a cold face. You must accept this task. If you dare to refuse, all the disciples of your sect, the Daohe sect, will be reduced to ashes. Luo Feng's expression changed. Emperor. An emperor didn't care about face at all and threatened himself with the lives of all the disciples of Daohe sect? Tell me, agree or reject? The woman looked at Luo Feng with a cold face. Diwu, are you threatening my disciple? A dark and terrifying aura descended, eroding the surrounding white flames wantonly, and the dark and terrifying aura formed a burly body. Ying stared at the woman's face. If you dare to kill all the disciples of Daohe sect, I will kill one of your children again. Guess who I will kill this time? The woman looked at him with murderous eyes. She has 5 children in total. In the past years, 2 people were completely killed by Di Chu, and they didn't even have a chance to be reincarnated. Now there are 3 children left. If all her children died, she would have no worries and would fight Di Chu to the death. But because there were still 3 left, she had to be cautious. Are you threatening me for a disciple? The woman looked angry. Yes, I am threatening you. Chu looked at the woman. With his ability to destroy life forms in the ultimate realm of the Great Tao, and with the help of powerful secret treasures, he could kill Di Wu's children at any time. There was no way he could survive. Even if he was hiding in the Emperor Wu palace and was cursed to death by Emperor Chu himself, Emperor Wu could not save his children. Okay, very good. The woman sneered, and then all the white flames dissipated and she disappeared completely. Master. Luo Feng looked at Di Chu. Have you seen how shameless they are? Di Chu's figure with a terrifying aura said with a smile. I didn't expect that an emperor would threaten me with the life of the entire sect. Luo Feng really opened his eyes. In order to surpass the God King level secret treasure, it is understandable that he would do anything at all costs. Threaten the lives of the entire sect for just one mission? Luo Feng only felt that the so-called emperor's actions were not as good as those of ordinary God Kings and ordinary Chaos realms. Di Chu said, when there are no constraints on your strength and you can do whatever you want, you need to have enough mental state to control yourself. Luo Feng nodded. Invincible power, in the hands of a madman, is indeed terrifying. Cultivation of the Hunyuan bloodline will contaminate oneself with the wool of the bloodline, and they will do things more wantonly. Di Chu shook his head. I also have to keep her 3 children to restrain her. I will be involved in the future. Emperors and monarchs, please contact me immediately and I will help you solve it. Excuse me, Master. Luo Feng was quite grateful. Of course the best way is to grow up on your own. Di Chu smiled slightly and left. Luo Feng nodded. He has gone all out to comprehend the 24 phases. A vast space. 12 thoughts gathered here, manifesting 12 vague and towering figures, which were the 12 emperors of Yangfeng ancient kingdom except Di Qing. Every one of their breaths is extremely terrifying, and they are like complete roads descending. Either destroy the heaven and earth, or plunge into the endless abyss, or be filled with endless vitality. This gathering is proposed by Di Yang. The Emperor Fu said, Di Yang proposes to deprive Luo He of his guest status. According to the royal rules, in order to deprive the guest of status, at least half of the participating emperors must agree. The guest system was established by the ancestors. Taking away the status of guest is not something that 1 or 2 emperors can decide. Deprived of your status as guest minister? Di Chu smiled, my disciple Luo He is extremely talented. When he became the God King, he was invincible in the first level of the God King. Now he has become the 2nd level of the God King. The sword light he used before was considered to be at the top level in the 2nd level of the God King. With such a talent, Di Yang, you actually want to deprive him of his status as a guest? Di Chu shook his head. Does my royal family care about the talent of an idol cultivator? Even the Lord of the 10,000 Realms Kingdom does not dare to resist our Yangfeng ancient kingdom. Di Yang sneered, my Yangfeng ancient kingdom's majesty is the most important thing. How could he, a little guy, offend the majesty of our Yangfeng ancient kingdom? Di Chu asked again. Di Yang said indifferently, since Luo He became the God King, he has refused all the tasks given to him and never accepted them. Instead, he used his status as the emperor's disciple to receive an inheritance worth more than 200 million credits. A guest who only knows how to take but not pay. I don't think the royal family needs such a guest. The inheritance he received was a gift from me. Di Chu said it is also customary for emperors to pass on inheritance to their disciples. Although it is customary, he is unwilling to take on any task. Di Yang said. I met him in person and asked him to take over the mission. But he didn't even pay attention to me, the emperor, and still refused. The flame woman Di Wu chuckled softly, Emperor. Why do you want such a guest, even if you don't pay attention to your orders? You spoke in person, but he refused? A grey figure said, since the emperor met him in person and ordered him to do things, he should accept it obediently. Such a lack of dignity, I also agree to deprive him of his status as a guest. What? Since you have a distinguished status, he has to obey you. Do you have no right to refuse? Emperor 11 chuckled. The ancestors have set the rules, and guests have the right to refuse. On the contrary, in front of you, Di Yang, he did not refuse the power. In their eyes, even the emperor's disciples should be allowed to be controlled by them and killed by them. Di Xian said coldly from the side. The emperor's Fu looked at the scene in front of him with a headache. Everyone, let's decide on Di Yang's proposal. Di Fu urged. The results will come out soon. Those who agreed to deprive Luohe of his status as guest ministers were Di Yang, D11, Di Wu, female, Di Yuan and Di Wu. Note, there are two emperors with name Wu. One is female who had been introduced and another emperor has not been introduced yet. In fact, when Di Wu went to see Luo Feng still refused, which made some emperors dissatisfied. Some emperors care about dignity. A little idle practitioner who doesn't give the emperor face should be punished. This is why Emperor Yang dared to propose depriving Luohe of his guest status. It's just that the three of them, Di Yang, have offended several emperors over the years. For example, Di Xian, who also cares about dignity and inferiority, did not hesitate to stand against Di Yang and the others. His disciple, Guishu Dijuan, was forced to such a point. Di Xian felt that it was a shame. Di Yang and the other three didn't care about his Emperor Xian's face at all. Every time Di Kong voted, he always stood against Di Yang. So in the end, those who disagreed were Di Chu, Di Ming, Di Xian, Di Kong, Di Jiufeng and Emperor Yu. 6 in total. Emperor Fu abstained. Di Fu, are you abstaining? Di Yang was very angry. Before launching the proposal, he concluded that the proposal had a high probability of success. Unexpectedly, the Emperor Fu, who had shown so much kindness to him, abstained from voting. This video will end here.